to become their leader in different representative positions, starting from that of the president to the governors of over 30 states. I mean, Ekiti State had their own governorship election on Saturday. Many observers say it was fraught with malfeasance, vote buying, vote selling, violence in some areas, and whatnot. Some have also said, political analysts, political observers, and politically conscious Nigerians have said it shows what will happen during the 2027 elections. INEC has told us again and again that 2027 will be a game changer. 2027 will not be business as usual. But many opposition parties and figures are not buying into that INEC's rhetoric and optimism, because they say, look, before the incumbent was in power, I mean, look at what the APC was able to do. Now that they are the ruling party, they have more leverage. Wouldn't it be a walk in the park for them? I mean, look at the Ekiti State election. I'll never stop referring to the Lagos State local government elections, and look at how it went. We really were seeing malfeasance. We were seeing live daylight vote selling and vote buying, which is what we always preach against right here. Anyway, I have joining me via the telephone right now to move ahead in this conversation. I have the National Publicity Secretary of the African Action Congress, AAC, Comrade Rex I. Elano. Good afternoon to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us this blessed, beautiful afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us today. We want to talk about your party, your candidate, politics, governance, and the upcoming elections. This is a new Nigeria debate, actually. We have another opposition figure who will be joining us as the conversation continues. He is the acting state chairman of the People's Redemption Party, that's the PRP, in Ekiti State. This was meant to be a bit of a debate, but I understand you do not have so much time, so I'd like you to start up the conversation by telling us what's really going on with your party. The Ekiti State governorship elections took place. We did not really hear so much about the AAC in Ekiti State. I mean, how are you trying to make your party palatable, encouraging to the average Nigerian? They know your flag bearer, but do they know your party? Is his name enough to push for votes in other lower offices apart from that of the president? I also wanted to talk about his court case. I understand that he'll be returning to court tomorrow. That's Wednesday. He was remanded yesterday until tomorrow. How has the party been dealing with that?
Well, let me start by saying, you talked about our party and the Ekiti State elections. But you see, it's instructive to also note that what we stand for as a party is beyond the conventional politics that has been played over time. You saw what happened in Ekiti State, vote buying, with brazen impunity. Nobody was even shameful about it, and that cannot be democracy. And that's why we are very consistent in, re-emphasizing our position that if we continue with this same pattern and system of elections that we call elections, there's no way we can ever have democracy, and there's no way we can expect free and fair, credible elections in 2027. And that's the reason why we are so emphatic that we need a revolution, a succinct revolution, either by the ballot or by the barricade. And the issue of if people know our party or if it's popularized around people know Shore more than the party, it's all up to us. It's the people's struggle. It's not about politicians who are senators or governors who are using public funds to enhance their campaigns or push their campaigns. It's about the people. So we are spreading our messages out. I'm using your own medium now to still call on Nigerians who are socialist driven in mind, who believe that the wealth of Nigeria should be for Nigerians. You can join our party, www.aacparty.com. And it's transparent there. You see how Nigerians are raising.
Sir, we've not even started the conversation and you're already selling the AAC to us.
Okay, let me even talk about Shore's court case, which is the burning issue today. You see that the same Shore who people claim doesn't have structures, doesn't have people on ground, doesn't have what it takes to wrestle power with the bigger political parties. What you call bigger is the more corrupt guys who have looted enough public funds to campaign with. But this same Shore has become unarguably the biggest threat to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime. And I say this with all confidence because I know for sure that the defamation case they are parading about that Shore called Tinubu a criminal is not really the issue. It's the fact that more Nigerians are beginning to gravitate towards Sowore. More Nigerians are beginning to reckon with his message, his revolutionary message. More people are volunteering. Mind you, Sowore is the only person who does politics in Nigeria without money. Yes, I can say this very, very confidently. Sowore is the only politician.
When you say without
Why?
money, what do you
Yes,
mean?
when I say without money, the context I'm talking about is because a lot of structures. These structures you see are transactional structures. From top to bottom, people just plan themselves, place themselves, and plant themselves in line, hoping that when cash comes ahead, it flows and trickles down to them. In the AAC, the reverse is the case. People contribute their own resources. 1,000 is our minimum monthly dues. People contribute 1,000, 10,000, $5, €10. People fund their own struggle. People bring in their time from their own work hours to fund and strengthen the revolution. You saw us at the court yesterday. A lot of our sector workers, they are artisans, they are skilled personnel, they are people that have left their own daily sources of income to be there
To come
to
and
fight
show
for
him
their
support.
conviction.
All
So it's not
right.
just about Sowore. Sowore is that voice that is speaking all our desires, and we cannot afford to leave Sowore alone.
Okay,
So,
during the June 12 protests that went on in Abuja, he was unfortunately tear gassed in the face. We saw videos of him falling. He was being carried to the vehicle. And a few days later, your party released a statement saying that that was an assassination attempt on his life, and in a bid to take him out as he's posing a threat to this administration, like you have also mentioned. Do you still hold that belief? Some people, some political observers, ordinary Nigerians, were like, that is just a bit dramatic, for someone who is aiming to hold the highest seat in the land and to lead a nation. Now that he is sitting in jail, I mean, if indeed there was an attempt.
well, you recall that sometimes back, I think in 2000, was it 2003 or so, when Chuba Okadigbo was tear gas in Kano State. They went for a rally. Then they were the opposition politicians. Obasanjo was the president then. Chuba Okadigbo was tear gas, and I'm sure many other persons who were in the ruling party's media team for propaganda and what do you call it, PDP apologies then said Chuba Okadigbo was dramatic. But what happened? That led to his death. You see, the truth is, we as commentators or people who make commentaries about politics in Nigeria most times are not even in the center of it. I was there behind Sowore. I also inhaled that gaseous substance that was sprayed on us. And for a moment, it seemed as if every oxygen went off my nose and off my lungs. So I can imagine I can understand when, people just go out outside and joke. They don't know what happened. They weren't even there. And if Sowore is not someone who's as fit, he runs a lot and exercises a lot, I'm sure he would have collapsed, and that would be that would lead it to just be another history repeating itself of another Chuba Okadigbo's case in Nigeria. I wrote that statement you are talking about, and I still hold my values. Regime is jittery. Tinubu is feeling so insecure. In fact, I liken him to Herod. Slaughter children because he was scared a newborn baby would take over him as king. Tinubu is jittery and scared. By the way, where is Tinubu? Nobody's even asking where he is because he has gone into hiding. And Tosin Ajayi, the DSS DG, is helping him play this eye service role to enable him, shut Sowore up. The way they've handled, the ADC, the NDC, all other political oppositions. Look at the strategic way Tinubu has been, fighting democracy. He got a judge in the Federal High Court, Peter Lifu. Justice Peter Lifu passed the judgment to make INEC deregister 5 political parties. And we say this is a democracy. You already have all the governors. Why are you scared of every other person? So for Sowore, he has not been able to, categorize Sowore under those who he can gag and oppress politically, like their El-Rufai and Malami. Those ones cannot, they have a limit to which they can resist because they all have their receipts for them. Their corruption and receipts of complacency and, complicity in all the crimes they've been doing when they were in power. But for Sowore, they have nothing on him. That's why they are now using the case of, they say Tinubu is a criminal. If you are granting, so if someone is on bail, it's because he will be availing himself to court. And if you are revoking his bail, it's because you are worried that he might not even avail himself or he might jump bail. Sowore has, in fact, the Federal High Court is almost Shore's second home. He's there every day. So there's no basis for any judge sending him to prison or DSS coming to, abduct him in a Gestapo style in court. A man who is seated unarmed and not even violent. This tells you that they are so scared that this Showore, if you allow millions of Nigerian oppressed people gravitate towards him, it will not be a man that will tell you, please, let's go to court, calm down, let us put eyes on the judiciary. Showore will match the millions of disenfranchised Nigerian voters.
Hello, Comrade Rex. Can you hear me, sir? Hello, can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you now.
I was just trying to say in summary that the major reason Tinubu is more scared of Showore than any other opposition voice in Nigeria is because Showore is not that person who will get millions of support and votes from oppressed Nigerians and tell them, calm down, let's go to court, eyes on the judiciary. Tinubu knows that if Showore has the support of millions of electorates, he will march them into the streets and demand the Nigeria they deserve. And him, Tinubu, and his cohorts in power will not even wait to ask questions. They will be out of this country. They will go on self-exile. Just because we want to ask them questions, how far with our country, what has been happening, they will run away. So Tinubu is more scared of Showore than any other person. But the Nigerian mass need to be able to understand this truth. We need to be able to communicate this truth to them, to even re-emphasize the need for every oppressed Nigerian to queue behind Showore, whether you like him or not, because he's the genuine voice that speaks for the common masses, that is talking about minimum wage of 500,000, that is talking about free education.
Is that viable though? We understand free education, but a 500,000 naira minimum wage, when we're crying out about inflation, would that not just make things worse? When you say that ordinary Nigerians should queue behind him, people have their reasons why they support the different
when
candidates.
She talked about 100,000 minimum wage in 2019, the same rhetoric came up. Inflation. But this is a country where you give your senators over 30,000 naira 30 million naira every month. We're not talking of oversized functions. We're not talking of the overpadded budget. We're not even talking about some of the committees they supersede or they oversee or their constituency allowance. We are talking about how many trillion did they just say is missing. We have billions and millions missing every day, but you are saying that if you put 500,000 in the hands of Nigerian workers who will spend the same money back in the economy, those ones will not change it into dollars and send it abroad. They will spend it back in this economy. You are saying it will cause inflation. You see, sometimes let us not allow people who are, and sometimes it's also sad to see that even the oppressed people themselves have been conditioned mentally to the point that they start resounding the narrative of their oppressor. There's no way. How many? It's less than $350, and you are saying for a month, so you are saying it will cause inflation. No, it won't cause inflation. If the monies that Tinubu share for his governors and they change almost immediately into dollars and begin to put it wherever they want to put it, has not caused inflation. This will not cause inflation. It will empower the Nigerian people. And there are a lot of variables too that you have to look at. It's not just minimum wage 500K. It's also providing electricity that drives industrialization. It's also providing education that builds human capital development in your country. It's also empowering farmers to farm and herdsmen to have their cattle in ranches where we can also use the dungs for biogas. It's not about having, billions being signed for security every year and generals are building estates all around the world, even in Dubai, while people are being sacked from their villages every day. Insecurity is a business. Everything that is going wrong in Nigeria is political. And Showore is the only person that speaks this truth to power. He has investigated so many of these men. He has brought out evidences even on Sahara Reporters. What again do you want from a man to really understand that this is the man for the job? So it's up to Nigerians. If we meet Showore this time around, honestly, I really don't know how pitiable we'll feel and look at ourselves.
He's been running for a while. If Nigerians did not deem him fit to be their president all this while, why is it different now? I know you talk about oppression and how he's the voice of the oppressed and all of that, but there are certain people who feel that it is because he has a face and a name, a recognizable one at that, and that is the reason why no matter what issues he has with the federal government, it will always be sorted out, legally or otherwise. But the average Nigerian cannot exactly say the same.
When you say sorted out, do not forget that Showore's nose was broken. Showore was shot at Unity Fountain. I was behind him. Showore's brother was assassinated. Showore's mother had stroke the day she heard that he was arrested in the court in 2019. What has Showore not suffered? Assassination attempts. You think anybody wants to go and be spending his life in detention all his time when his family is somewhere in the US, and you say that he can be sorted out because he has? No, he has struggled his way through. IBB Abacha locked him up about 8 times. As a young man, Buhari kept him for 5 months, denied him his passport for 5 years. None of those things are palatable. Nobody can even tell me he can be paid to pass through those things. Life-threatening circumstances. This is a man who has over time shown that he's committed to seeing Nigeria of his dream. So now what makes it different from the other times is that more people are getting to know Showore. More people are now informed about Showore. As I'm speaking to you, I just left a meeting where I'm supposed to be speaking. More influencers are voluntary. That's why I say Showore is the only person that does politics without money. These people are voluntarily doing the job. People are printing berets with their monies. People are doing. You can't see that in any of these parties. These parties, people go there because they want,
Despite all of this, what has hindered the mass exodus of Nigerians to this party?
It's gradual. It's an awakening, and it's happening very fast. In fact, what Tinubu has just done by putting Showore in Kuje prison is an accelerated move for us too, and we're happy about that. Because we're not just going to be crying. It's not a pity party, oh, free Showore, free Showore. It's for a time for Nigeria to also see a Kwame Nkrumah, a Nelson Mandela, or a Faye Showore. Because this time around, there's this vantage point of, more people are online and have access to the internet. More people are engaged. More young people are now interested in the political terrain of their own country. More, there's more attention to the politics of today, especially the fact that the APC has failed so much that people are mentally seceding from Nigeria. So this time, Showore comes in handy for us. At a time when we need a fighter, this is the best fighter that is available. And that's why Tinubu is panicking, because he always thought Showore will remain at the level where he could be ridiculed as an SUG president. But right now, it's becoming clear to Nigerians that this is the president that Nigeria needs.
I understand that you need to go very, very shortly. I do thank you for your time. I ask you one question that has been asked again and again. Apart from calling for protests whenever there is a policy from the government that the AAC, the Take It Back movement, and others and some Nigerians are displeased with, what is another strategy that the AAC is actually putting in place to remind Nigerians of what they are missing and what the AAC can give them if they vote for the party come 2027? In a few minutes.
Yeah, we are all out there on our media spaces, we are talking, but most importantly, we want Nigerians to take ownership of the struggle. Because each time people look at it as what are the strategies of AAC to win election, it should be what are the strategies of oppressed Nigerians to come out of this slavery. That should be our collective dream. And the AAC is just a part of it. We're a voice in it, leading the political front. So let Nigerians come to the point of realization that we should stop looking for who is forming a strategy. We as oppressed people of Nigeria who are dying, who are being kidnapped, our children are in the bush, our teachers are being beheaded, poverty is also beheading us, insecurity, everything is wrong with our dysfunctional system. We should be thinking of our strategy to come out of oppression. And here is it, offered to us on the platter of gold. Liberation is on the ballot. African Action Congress, the People's Party, socialist driven. What does it take for anybody to register with this party and continue to amplify this voice? What does it take for any oppressed Nigerian to fall in love with freedom? So it's a call for all of us, even you too. I know you guys want to always claim are political, but there are policies that can affect you in your studio, and you will not even have enough diesel to power your generators for you to be on air. So it's a call. The liberation of Nigeria is no more a choice. It's now a necessity and a responsibility for all of us.
Thank you so much, Comrade Rex, for your time. Thank you for your perspectives. We do appreciate you, and we wish your principal all the best in his legal case with the federal government and the DSS, as the case may be. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. I've been speaking with Comrade Rex Elano, the National Publicity Secretary of the African Action Congress, AAC. We talked about Showore's legal case issues and his remand. Tomorrow he'll be going to court again. He'll be appearing before the court. He has quite a number of cases against him. Sometimes it's difficult to keep up, This was supposed to be a debate between our guests from the AAC and our guests from the PRP, but because of the time constraint, the time difference between them, we have to call them differently. So next, I'll be joined by my guest all the way from Ekiti State. He will be joining us to talk about the Ekiti elections, to talk about how the APC fared, how their party also fair. Just give us your own perspectives on what it is. Good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to the New Nigeria Debate on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. It's a pleasure to have you here.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. We are now speaking with Comrade Teniola O. Akande, the acting state chairman of the People's Redemption Party, that's the PRP, in Ekiti State. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, sir. I want us to actually begin from your state, Ekiti. Talk about how your party fared, if your party was even on the ballot, in the just concluded governorship elections. The APC won, the result was announced, before dawn on Sunday morning, and quite a number of people, it reminded them of the announcement of the result of the presidential elections in 2023. What is your party's observation on the conduct of that election? And if INEC is to go by how the Ekiti State elections went, will the 2027 elections be business as usual, or will it be so much better than we've ever seen?
All right, thank you very much. If I understood what you just said now, you said my party was not on the ballot.
I'm asking, how did your party fare? Was it even on the ballot? Because there were concerns raised about the number of parties on the INEC website, the ones on the ballot and whatnot. So we're just asking about how your party fared and your observation on that election. How did it go for you and for others?
All right, thank you very much. I must say that first, let me thank you for this opportunity to be here. All right, and of course, to be able to shed light into some of the things that you would like to know, or that listeners at home might like to know as regards the just concluded Ekiti State election. For we at the PRP, it wasn't a loss, I will say. It's a win for us, even though the other way around, you might want to say that we were not declared by INEC. Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. So, but for us, it's actually a win. We were on the ballot as well as some other parties. However, one of the things that characterized that election is the fact that there was a large percentage of voters apathy. I mean, it all started from that. That were supposed to come out to cast their votes did not actually do that. And you begin to wonder and imagine what could have actually led to that. A lot of factors, actually, apart from the fact that there were a whole lot of, let me use the word, electoral malpractices that characterized that election. Yes, a lot of vote buying here and there. I'm so sure that to a very large extent, you would have actually been able to see some of the videos online, training videos here and there of vote buying, voters intimidation, and a whole lot of other things. So all well and good, the election held, but I can't really say that it was actually free and fair. You understand, considering the fact that a lot of people did not come out to actually cast their votes. Take, for example, my polling unit has about I think close to about 200. I'm not really sure of the number, but above 200 voters, registered voters for that particular polling unit. And lo and behold, at the end of the day, the total number of voters was not up to 150 that came out to vote on that day. And that's how it was. I mean, how else do you get to describe an election? If the state has 1,050,000 or thereabout number of voters, and then out of all of them, the total number of votes cast during the course of the election wasn't up to 500,000. I mean, so there was large turnout of, large percentage of voters apathy. People were not really interested to vote. And why would that be? I would tell you categorically that perhaps due to the experiences people had, people actually had before this particular election. If you look at the percentage of voters turnout for elections at the polls, you would discover, if you look at that, you would discover that this actually happens to be the lowest so far. This happens to be the lowest so far. And you begin to wonder why. A lot of reasons actually attributed to that, which I've actually mentioned some of them. So if you ask me, I would say, yes, our party participated, even though the results did not justify the level of work done. Yes, but the PRP is a party of ideology. We have an ideology and principle that makes us stand out from others. And one of our principles is that we don't engage in vote buying. You will never find PRP do that in any election. not just Ekiti State alone. We wouldn't do that because we actually have some founding principles, of course, from our founder. That's talking about the late Aminu Kano. So these are some of the things you will not find us do. So we participated, we campaigned, we transversed the 16 local governments of Ekiti State. We spoke to people, but we didn't actually have that reflect on the polls. And someone has also come out to say that it appeared our vote disappeared on the light and anyway. I saw that video online not so long. It appears that person specifically mentioned PRP. It appears our votes disappeared. Probably the person referred to that as INEC magic and Ekiti magic. Well, whatever that might be, anyway. The only thing is we've learned from it, and of course, we continue to build on the principles of our founding fathers.
All right.
Thank you.
Before the governorship elections, how intense were your campaigns? If you bring a lineup of 5-10 people in Ekiti State and ask them to pick out the PRP logo from a lineup, would they be able to? I mean, I'm talking about the presence of the PRP in Ekiti, how strong it is. Seeing as we're going into general elections, and it is thought or believed that the goal of every political party is to get into power. Is your party trying hard enough? Is Ekiti a litmus test for what it will be like for your party in 2027?
All right. Thank you so much. Let me say this very well. Let me say this, that to a very large extent, I can tell you categorically that my party, the People's Redemption Party, is one of the 5 political parties that actually took the last election very serious. And when I say that with every sense of responsibility and humility at the same time. We were one of the 5. There were 5 major parties that took this election very seriously. And of course, if you get to ask an average person in Ekiti of today about the PRP, they will tell you in Yoruba language or Yoruba parlance, they will tell you Egbo ni kokoro. You understand? So we had our campaign. We were on air, we were on media, on radio. At certain times, we were on TV, on national television, and then of course we traversed this, like I said earlier, the 16 local governments of Ekiti State, talking to people, and of course making them to see reasons why they actually need to actually believe. Why they actually need to believe in what we do or what we are bringing to the fore. And I can tell you categorically that my candidate, which is the person of Ayodele Olaniyi Praise, AOP, actually did his best to make people see. Because the truth of the matter is, we were one of the very few that actually made our good intentions for the people known, and that we were so sincere about it, with practical approach to how to actually get these things done.
Okay. Would you say the people, the current crop of voters, forgive me for buttoning like that, but would you say the current crop of voters are actually concerned about manifestos and speeches, gargantuan promises that may not be fulfilled, or they will rather go for what they can get in the interim? I'm talking about when people collect things like a derica of rice, a sachet of tomato, a pack of noodles, a pack of spaghetti, and they'll tell you, I want to get what I can get for now, because they do not trust that these people will keep to their promises if elected. And also, because of the presence of the ruling party all across Nigeria, there's hardly anyone who is politically conscious to an extent that you will ask about political parties in Nigeria that will not mention the ruling party and a few other opposition parties. Does PRP come up in conversations like that? How well are you bringing your consciousness to the people of Nigeria, not just Ekiti?
Okay, well, I think your question is in 2 folds. The very first one is talking about campaign promises. Are people, the electorate in Ekiti, more concerned about promises, or that more concerned about what they can get, instant gratification? And the second one is talking about how well we get to be on the discussion when it comes to political matters in Nigeria. Am I right?
Yes, please, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Let me say this emphatically, that one of the issues that has actually made that actually resulted into voters' apathy is the fact that there's this consciousness in the minds of people, and of course you know that Ekiti State people are led. Like, what I mean by that is that they actually read a lot. You understand? So we actually have a certain percentage that actually have that mind. And because of that mindset, some of them did not eventually turn out to vote on the election day. Okay? But the other way around, yes, people, when we talk to people, they listen to us because, like I was saying before you actually asked that question, I mean, we were not just giving our promises. And let me also say this, that our promises were not like building castles in the sky. No. Our promises were realistic promises, things that are actually achievable. I mean, when you get to listen to either the candidate or my humble self as the chairman of the party in Ekiti State, where you get to hear or speak, you would understand that these are things that are practical. Man, I could actually give you examples. For example, we talked about creation of jobs. We were talking about creation of at least minimum of 16,000 jobs in Ekiti State if we were actually elected. And how did we intend to do that? Very simple. Creation of industries in each of the 16 local governments. Ekiti State is an agrarian state. So we create an industry, a minimum of one industry in each of the 16 local governments that can actually employ minimum of 1,000 people, helping with converting agricultural produce to products. 1,000 times 16, that's 16,000 jobs. Simple arithmetic. Is it achievable? Yes. So that's just one out of many promises that we made. And I can tell you categorically that for people that were affected or people that are affected by these issues or circumstances, that our promises actually solved the issues they had, they believed in us.
All right.
I can tell you categorically.
Let's look.
But the issue, I'm coming. The issue now is that on the election day, because poverty has been weaponized, poverty has been weaponized. So if we imagine someone who hasn't seen 5,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 in a couple of days, then getting to see 10,000, 15,000 in some quarters 20,000. The person feels like, okay, let me get this first, at least let me eat. You understand what I'm saying? Then, and of course, the person has to vote for them, or else the person doesn't get the money. So the weaponization of poverty is part of the reason things went the way it went. Not because people did not believe in us. People actually know. But for the record, my candidate, Praise Ayodele Olani, happens to actually be the one that led the rally that led to the establishment of Amotekun in Ekiti State. You understand? So at least that record is there. If he promises he's going to do something, he's going to do it. But beyond that, like I said, poverty has been weaponized. So, and a lot of people that were out on that day were out because of the money. Not because they don't believe in the promises. But, I mean, they're hungry and all of that. Part of the reasons why we are saying that vote trading, either selling or buying, should actually become a criminal act and followed up by law enforcement agencies. I think that answers your first question. The second question, very quickly, I can tell you categorically that today in Nigeria, if any question is going to arise around, revolving around politics in Nigeria and the build-up to 2027 elections, I can tell you categorically that you cannot mention the PRP. And you want to ask me how? Recent development.
All right, sir. I want us to move from state to the federal elections. Elections are coming up in 2027, and talk about your party's preparedness. Looking at your presidential candidate, what kind of pull or clout he has as against others that are also contesting for the same position. Most prominently, the incumbent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, former vice president of the country, Abubakar Atiku of the ADC, and also the Obi-Kwankwaso Alliance of the NDC, and then you bring the PRP's Donald Duke into that conversation. We also understand, based on a conversation that we had recently, that the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023 might be the vice presidential candidate of the PRP come 2027. Are all this enough to give your party a pride of place in, even if the PRP could come second place in 2027? If we go a little further, win the elections?
Okay. I didn't really get your question. I understood everything you said. Are you talking about the chances of the PRP?
Yes. I'm talking about chances of the PRP based on the people that they have presented as their candidate, as against other candidates, their followership base, their political clouds, their regional voting statistics, based on who is representing the party at the national level, at the presidential and vice presidential candidate.
All right, thank you so much. Let me say this. I guess for the build up to the 2027 elections, I can tell you categorically that to a very large extent, yes, we are all for the game, and definitely we also pull our own weight. Like I said earlier, the PRP is a party of ideology, so we don't just do things anyhow. All right. If you look at the records of Donald Duke, His Excellency Dr. Donald Duke, while he was governor of Cross River State, you would discover that to a very large extent, up to date, I stand to be corrected, he's still one of the best governors that ever ruled, not just in Cross River State, but across the southern part of Nigeria. If you look at his track record. You understand? And of course, if you also look at the track records of Dati Baba Ahmed, you also discover that he's also a man that actually has actually pulls his own weight. And if you talk about, being relevant as regards the 2027 election, I can tell you that to a very large extent, yes, for a lot of reasons. Either you take it or you leave it. The truth of the matter is that when Peter Obi contested in 2023 on the platform of the Labour Party, and Dati Baba Ahmed served as his vice presidential candidate, stood rather as his vice presidential candidate. The truth of the matter is that the Northern Bloc did not just come for Obi alone. The Northern Bloc came with Dati Baba Ahmed.
Okay.
Take it or leave it. That is the fact. Now, am I saying that Obi doesn't actually have his own level of influence in the North? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that much more, there's a kind of level of influence that the man Dati Ahmed, I wouldn't know if he would be, but just like what you said, if, of course, he is in our party already, he has become to our party. So if he becomes the vice presidential candidate for Dr. Donald Duke, then to a very large extent, you can also rest assured that the kind of influence and weight that he pulled for June 2023, perhaps much more than that, he actually gets to pull that in 2027. Plus the kind of clout that Dr. Donald Duke also pulls in his own way, going by the track record that he actually has.
Does he have a movement, though, if we are to take them one after the other? When you look at southern candidates, we have, of course, Obi of the NDC. We have President Bola Tinubu, who is the incumbent. Right now, when you look at northern candidates, we have Kwankwaso, vice presidential candidate of the NDC. Of course, we have Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the ADC. We have Dati Baba Ahmed. We have Kwankwaso. Can Dati Baba Ahmed actually, if he's to share votes with people like Kwankwaso and Atiku, can he take a huge chunk of it? Because these are like political powerhouses in the northern region.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Well, one thing I want to say about that, or what I would like to say about that majorly, is when you're talking about being probably maybe having a movement or the kind of influence, I think it's more of an influence, number one, than a movement. That's number one. Then number two is that if you look at Nigeria as of today, what we actually need to actually have the kind of change that we desire, to actually have the kind of Nigeria that we desire, to actually have a Nigeria that actually ensures that every man out there, every woman out there, every child out there is actually safe. Talk about security and a whole lot of other things. We do not actually need what I would like to call a set of recycled leaders. What I mean by that is, now, to a very large extent, we know what the Bola Ahmed Tinubu of APC, we know what it stands for, officially and unofficially, if you understand what I'm saying. We know what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar stands for, officially and unofficially. And also, that's we also know what Donald Duke and Dati Ahmed, what they also stand for. The records are there. So, for I want to believe, personally, that just like what happened in Ekiti, what we need as a country is not just to have a change of power. What we actually, because of a movement, what we actually need is to actually have someone who with substantial policies, policies that could actually stand the test of time and lead to the overall development of the nation. That's what we need. And of course, we can get that with the combination, with the duo of Donald Duke and Dati Ahmed. I'm talking about influence. Yes, they have their influence. For example, I can tell you categorically, during the course of our campaigning here in Ekiti, I can tell you categorically that places where we got to mention, where people asked, and then we got to tell them that, okay, Donald Duke is, a lot of them accepted him. The only thing is, perhaps a lot of people have seen Ekiti's election as a litmus test for Nigeria's election come 2027. And if that is the case, if all the necessary cares are not being taken, then we might actually have a repetition of vote buying, vote trading, which might not actually, in the reasons of it, reflect the level of work done or the true minds of the people.
When the people sell their votes, do you blame them? When the people are apathetic towards elections, do you blame them? Some people talk about how they expect nothing better from INEC. They believe in 2027 it will be a walk in the park for the APC. They believe that if the opposition does not consolidate, come together and create the coalition that we thought the ADC was going to be, then there is no hope for the opposition. Not just for their political ambition, but because these are people who are coming with promises of saving Nigerians, if you know what I mean.
Okay, well, you're going to start from the first part of your question. Are the people to be blamed? Are the electorate to be blamed for vote trading, for voters apathy? I would say that the answer to that question is, to a very large extent, no. Rather, for you to actually have a buyer of a vote, definitely there must be a seller. So I think the blame goes more to the sellers, who has actually, like I said earlier, weaponized the poverty. And because they've actually weaponized poverty, it makes it difficult. I mean, a man who has not really eaten or fed for 2, 3, 4 days, then gets it to say 10,000 naira. Then to a very large extent, there's every tendency that such a man will actually go for that, even though he actually knows the right thing to do. And I can tell you that this singular act is also what has actually led, the ripple effect is what has actually led to voters' apathy. A lot of people, even though they actually desire things, they desire changes, they know the right candidate to vote for and all of that. To a very large extent, you might not see them at the polls. I'm talking about the elites. Why? Yeah, because they feel that, okay, the election will, at the end of the day, will go the same old way it has always gone. So to a very large extent, you find a lot of people actually withdrawing from the polls. Not because they are not interested. And let me also say this for the record, that if care is not taken, if all of this are not nipped in the bud within the short time we have, the state election has been concluded already. We are looking forward to Osun state election in a couple of weeks from now. If corrections are not being made, a time, I stand to be corrected, a time might come in Nigeria that you scarcely find people at the polls. And that's the truth. The time might come that you scarcely find people at the polls because people are lacking the belief and the trust in the system that should actually elect new leaders for our country. Now, so if you're actually having that, I mean, if, for example, you can actually have situations in which people that are elites and, of course, are working will feel like, okay, why do I need to go to the polls? I have what's sufficient for me and my family. Why should I go to the polls when, at the end of the day, there will be vote buying? So, to a very large extent, I feel the blame shouldn't actually go to the voters. The blame should actually go to the sellers, those who buy votes, rather, not the sellers, not those that sell their votes, but those that buy their votes. You understand? I think that the blame should go to them.
All right. Still on the 2027 elections, we have to talk strategies, right? And I do understand, though, you cannot come out on media, on radio, to give us details of the strategies that your party is employing. But do you think that for a party such as yours that has been for a very long time and yet it seems to be losing that consciousness or recognition in the minds of certain Nigerians, especially those who recently became politically conscious towards and after the 2023 elections, you might only know of the few political parties that they hear about every day. So we're not just looking at your chances in 2027, right? But the base that you already have now that can give you that chance come 2027.
Okay, if I get what you're saying very well, you're talking about the chances of the PRP at the 2027 election, right?
Yes, and right now, what is your base? Your House of Reps candidates? Do you have a governor in Nigeria? You know, you have someone at the local government level in which of the states? Do you have structures in all 36 states of the country? Strong structures that can actually go on campaigns and convince the people to give the PRP millions, not just hundreds of thousands of votes come 2027. Because even if the party does not win, based on its performance, it will keep coming up in conversations. Even if it comes fourth or 5th. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
That shows that the people
Okay.
know the party, and the people in the party have done their groundwork. They've done their homework very well. Your grassroots mobilization all around the states where you're present, and localities and communities.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me start by saying that to a very large extent, come 2027, the 2027 election, the PRP will actually pull a surprise on a lot of people. By God's grace, by the results that are expected to be obtained by God's grace. And how do I mean? I can tell you that, like I said earlier, that by God's grace, our party is actually a principled party. And our principles are the kind of principles that Nigeria needs as of now to actually change the situation of things, the scope of things, as far as this country is actually concerned.
Understandable, but
right?
some people
And
will tell
let's
you it's
go.
not principles that they will eat. Does your party believe in the principle of giving to gain? Let's just do what other people are doing. Let's share something so that they can get to listen to us. And when they listen to us, some people have this mentality of, oh, they've not entered office and they are doing this for us, which means they will even do more when they enter. When you're coming with just words and your opposition is coming with gifts, who will the people go with?
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, that like I said earlier, that I believe so much that Content 27, our party, my party, the People's Redemption Party, which is the oldest party in Nigeria of today, will actually put a surprise on a lot of people. And beyond promises, to a very large extent, I want to believe that the party actually has its own strategies, of course, as led by our amiable national chairman, Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed. I want to believe that to a very large extent that a whole lot of plans are in the pipeline. All right. I'm talking about structure. By God's grace, the PRP, the People's Redemption Party, actually have a structure all across the Federation. Talk about the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, Abuja. And of course, all these states were adequately represented during our last national convention, which held at Abuja. That was in March. All right. So we actually have the structure in place, and I can tell you that those structures are being are being oiled. Okay, those structures are being oiled to ensure that at the end of the day, they actually give the needed support come 2027. So, will the PRP emerge in 2027 election? Well, only the Almighty God knows tomorrow. But is the PRP ready to actually go all out to ensure victory during the next election? The answer is yes. But is the PRP desperate to get to power? The answer is no. We are not desperate. If we are desperados, then perhaps we would have seen the situations in which the PRP is actually involved in one form of vote buying or the other, voters intimidation, voters bullying, and a whole lot of that. Talking about gifts, well, you refer to it as gifts. I do not see it as gifts. I see it as bribery. In the last Ekiti state election, we have cases in which people, I talked about weaponization of poverty earlier. Bread. Loaf of bread, 350, 500 naira bread, were thrown at people. I come and see the way people were rushing and running after it. And then, you saw it. Okay, good. So come and see the way people were rushing. And for within myself, the moment I saw that video, I was like, why do we have this for crying out loud? I mean, okay, let's assume that you even want to give out the bread to people. Is the next thing to throw it out of the trucks like you're throwing bread to goats or animals or dogs? The answer is no. So people should be treated with dignity. And that was the reason during the last election in Ekiti, while others were planning for vote buying and what have you, we looked at the party, we looked at what are the specific needs of people in each of the 3 central districts that we actually had. And I can tell you that in one of those central districts, the major issue they had was the issue that has to do with NIN registration. That was the major issue we had because people have, I wouldn't know for the reason why, but they have to pay in that particular central district to be able to actually work on that NIN. And our candidate, our party, the PRP, actually made provision for that for free of charge. Now, that is kind of, if you're talking about probably helping people towards the election, those are the kind of helps the PRP can actually render something that actually affects the lives of the people, and for years, all through their life, they get to keep remembering it.
As much as that is understandable, sir.
The election day.
As much as that's understandable, that is very understandable, right? That's an understandable strategy. That's a great way to look at it. But if you want to win, one might say, oh, you have to play the politics the way Nigerian politics is being played. If you want to remain top of mind for many people, it is when you feed their stomachs. That's when you remain top of mind for them, right? Because many of them are so far removed from governance, they will tell you, oh, whatever they are doing there, it doesn't affect me. A lot of people don't even understand how the current leadership might lead to whatever situations that they are facing, or how the policies of the government affects them. And so when you come with promises of what you will do, it sounds to them like it's just another story. But when you come with something at hand, not that I'm advocating that, but I'm just saying it's the kind of politics we've seen from the ruling party. We have this city boy movement. Relax, Tinubu is fixing Nigeria. If they're not sharing fridge, they're sharing rice. If they're not sharing rice, they're sharing meat. They're sharing one thing or the other. And you see people coming out to say, oh, APC for life. They are the ones we know. You know, because of what they see, what they have at hand. It makes them believe that if they can do this for us when they've not even entered, what will they do for us when they now fully enter?
The truth of the matter is they are there already. And we can all see what they are doing. See, let me tell you this, my uncle. Let me tell you this. If you're talking as regards that, I think one of the things that we might do is actually give a form of reorientation to our people. Now, that's the truth. Because the truth of the matter is, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you will do, are actually results of your orientation. Whatever it is I do, as regards situations I find myself, whatever it is that you do as my uncle, my host on today's program, is as a result of the orientation you have. It simply implies that you cannot do beyond your orientation. So what we would probably maybe do, and maybe for any other party that shares the kind of ideology that we have, which I think there is none other, if I stand to be corrected anyway, is the fact that there's a form of reorientation that will be given to people. You just mentioned the fact that the APC, through the City Boy movement, is actually doing some certain things. Yes, they're doing it. But the other way around, after people get to hit it, they come for another round again. And then, of course, they continue to recycle the same system. There's another that says you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. It's not possible. So you have to do something different to expect a different result. Do you understand? So I think for me, I think it's just a matter of reorientating our people, giving them a different kind of orientation, okay? And of course, letting them see that it's still possible to practice politics and governance the way it should be practiced and still have the kind of security, the kind of economy, okay? The kind of country that I can be proud of to say I am a Nigerian. And when you say that, people don't get to see you as a foster. They get to see you as a responsible citizen. It's just a matter of orientation, I believe. Thank you.
All right, then. We have to let you go very shortly so that we can take calls from the audience. I thank you for your time and for your perspectives. But before you go, as the 2027 elections inches closer, for those Nigerians who are looking for an alternative to the people we might describe as the big three or the big two or the big four, you know, who are looking for an alternative and who want to look towards the PRP, what is there for them to see? Because we hear a lot of people saying, oh, none of the people running now even appeal to me. They are all the same. When people talk about Kwankwaso, he was a former presidential candidate. Now he's accepting the position of, you know, a vice president, to run as a vice president to someone. That's Baba Ahmed was the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Now he's in the PRP. And yet all those people trying to convince Nigerians that they are not there for their own political ambition, but they try to move to where will favor them when elections come. So why should the people see the PRP and its candidates as a viable alternative to others?
All right, thank you very much. I want to say that people should actually see the PRP, the People's Redemption Party, and its candidate, Dr. Donald Duke, as credible alternatives in this election because of what we've actually proven over a long period of time. The PRP, apart from being the oldest party in Nigeria, is one of the parties that actually has a strong principle of people first governance, and that is reflected. If you look at 1980, during the reign of Abubakar Rimi as the former governor of Kano State, you will discover that it was a PRP government that first recognized or celebrate on May 1st today as Workers' Day. In 1981, the federal government took it over, and ever since then it has become a national holiday. But it all started with the PRP-led government. So the PRP has always been a party that actually puts the people first, any day, any time. And then, of course, Donald Duke is, like I said, the records are there. Dr. Donald Duke happens to be one of the best governors ever produced in the southern part of Nigeria. And so if that is the case, if you check the records of what he did while being a governor, then to a very large extent, the policies and the reform that he's bringing come 2027 are actually those that can actually transform Nigeria and take us to where we are supposed to be as a country. So the PRP is a credible alternative any day, anytime. You need policies that will actually change Nigeria and make things better than the way they are now. Policies that will end insecurity. Policies that will end, to a very large extent, the issue of bad economy, that would actually bring corruption to its lowest ebb and no loss of that. Okay? These are things that could actually be found in the People's Redemption Party. So I can tell you categorically that the PRP is a credible alternative, not just because I am a state chairman of PRP, but because that is just what it is. For over time, if you check the record, there's no election where the PRP actually participated in vote buying. We will not do that. And that's to tell you that we are a party that actually frowns at corruption and a whole lot of others. So to a very large extent, PRP is a part. And of course, if the PRP is not an alternative, a credible alternative, you will have sitting senators and House of Representatives members that are actually be campaigning from APC and some other parties into the PRP. Of course, within a short time, I believe it's going to spread.
All right.
So the PRP is actually the party to look out for.
Just before you go, some opposition figures, candidates and parties have blamed the ruling party for whatever internal crisis is going on between them. They say within them, they say the APC is trying to stifle the opposition. Recently, we saw the deregistration of about 5 political parties in Nigeria. Is your party concerned about having such issues?
All right, thank you. I can tell you that my party, the People's Redemption Party, PRP, is not concerned about such issues. And I can tell you, might want to ask me why. Why are we not concerned? The truth of the matter is, it's not just, it's not a child's play. That by God's grace, we are the oldest party in Nigeria. We do not have structural issues. I remember there was a time like that some people were trying to actually come up with a factionalization and all of that. And then within a short time, that actually got sorted. Because to a very large extent, we are different. So we do not actually investigate such issues within the PRP. The PRP is so structured and has its internal strength. So we do not look forward to internal rankings and what have you. No. We actually have a structure in place. We actually have mechanisms in place that take care of probably maybe internal party disputes and what have you. We look forward to actually having the first time come 2027 elections.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your time. We have to let you go, but we just want your concluding thoughts for those Nigerians that are apathetic, and talk to them about how the Ekiti elections went. And if they don't want 2027 to be like that, why people should participate, get their PVCs, and vote for the PRP when the time comes.
Okay, well, I didn't get you, please. I didn't get you.
I wanted you to give us your concluding thoughts. It might be a word of encouragement to Nigerians about the cost of apathy towards elections, just having that apathetic feeling towards elections, why people should get their PVCs and why they should vote for your party.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. My final words for today, I want to say that to Nigerians listening to me anywhere you are, please know that vote trading, both buying or selling, as the case might be, is not actually the best for our democracy. That's the truth. It's not the best, and it will never be the best for our democracy. Our democracy only thrives in a situation in which the minds of the people are actually truly reflected at the polls. I was telling someone jokingly earlier today that for those that collected 20,000, 25,000, 15,000 during the course of Saturday's election, today is Tuesday. there's every tendency that that amount, whatever it is, with comparing with Nigeria's economy as we speak, would have finished. I mean, you would have spent everything, or probably you'd be left with a few thousand naira. But the decision taken on that day will live with the Ekiti people for the next 4 years. So, whatever it is, please try as much as possible to avoid vote trading. In fact, instead of involving in selling your votes during the election, during the 2027 election, rather face your business squarely and get to the point in which you can actually spare that amount that you'll be offered. At any point, then nobody can actually buy your vote. You'll be able to vote your conscience during the election. That's that concerning that. Then secondly, I also want to encourage people, please go for your PVC. If you are yet to actually have your PVC, get your PVC, your permanent voters card, and cast your votes during the 2027 election. That is the only voice and power that you have as an electorate to actually. You can't actually change government without your PVC. You might continue to complain and grumble, but the only platform where you can actually exercise and show that you are not happy with the government of the day and you need a new government in power is through the use of your PVC. So please go ahead, get your PVCs. Get everything you should get. And of course, come 2027, vote for PRP. Come 2027, vote for PRP in the election. And of course, I believe that a wind of change, better change, positive change will actually blow across Nigeria. All right?
Thank you
so much.
So
really
much. Thank you for your time. We've been speaking with Comrade Teniola Konde, the acting state chairman of the People's Redemption Party in Ekiti State. So we thank you for your time. We thank you for your perspective, and we wish your party, your candidate, and yourself all the best going forward. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. You have been listening to the New Nigeria Debate right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. It feels like we just started and we are already about to leave. Oh my God. The time is not on our side, but we have a few minutes, about 11 minutes to take your calls before we go. So it's basically one question. We talked to the National Publicity Secretary of the AAC, that's the African Action Congress, Shore's party. He's the presidential candidate. And we also spoke to the Ekiti State chairman of the People's Redemption Party, PRP. So I want to know, if for people who say, you don't like President Bola Tinubu, you don't want to vote for him in 2027. You don't like Atiku, you don't want to vote for him. You don't like Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, so you don't want to vote for them. Would you take Donald Duke of the PRP or Showore of the AAC as an alternative? We also have SDP, the Social Democratic Party's Adewale Adebayo. If you do not want, the ones people might categorize as the big three, I'm talking about the president, that's APC, the ADCs Atiku Abubakar, the NDCs Obi and Kwankwaso Alliance. If you do not consider any of them as worthy of your vote, would you consider these other three, the PRP, the AAC, or the SDP? Just bringing them into the conversation to make it a little more balanced. Give us a call, 0803-692-9933, 0803-692-9933. That's the number you can call to be a part of these conversations. You can also send a message on WhatsApp or give us a call on WhatsApp too. 0817-175-6338, 0817-175-6338 on WhatsApp. I look forward to hearing from you. We have just about 9 minutes to actually get into this conversation, so give me a call. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it polite. Okay, welcome to the New Nigeria Debate. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? All right, you have to give me a call. Hello?
Hello?
Good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Lady Choma, how are you?
Very well, thank you. What's your name and location, please?
My name is Shola. I'm calling from Egbeda.
Oh, Shola, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. Yes. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so, it's good. It's not as if we don't have the materials. For me personally, Showore, I voted for him before. I think during the second coming of Buhari, I even decided, I said, let me waste my vote, even if it is wasting. But what I've realized now is that, there should be alignment. And, I expected Showore to have, aligned with somebody like Obi, because they need national spread. You don't get what I'm saying? That national spread really matters. Obi is somebody that is so lucky and fortunate to have a national spread. So, but with this now, you understand, they might be good in their own different rights, but that's different. The competition is too much, and it will reduce, the possibility of having any amongst them. They should have aligned with somebody like Obi. That's the issue we are having now. Another problem is that the electorates are also another problem. The ones that don't have their PVC, another problem, the docile ones. Then we have those that are collecting, that have been induced. You understand? That's another problem. Look at what happened in the last election in Ekiti. It's a pointer to what is likely to happen in 2027. But it's good that we are seeing all these things now so that we can actually prepare better. We still have little time, but we can still prepare to make things work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shola, for your call. 08036929933. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon
Choma.
to you, sir. How are you doing?
Fine. My name is Chukuma Omelata.
Welcome. Please go ahead.
Yes. Actually, I want to speak on this election. With what we have seen in this country, does it mean that we have allowed buying of the votes? Is it that it is not a law that you buy somebody? I've been voting since 1979. I have not collected kobo from anybody. You see, 2023, what pains me much is that I left Abuja to come and vote in Lagos. And you know that is far. So, because I want to vote, I voted for somebody. The person I voted did not win. Because somebody, chairman of INEC, called the result around 4 a.m. And that same person has been given ambassador's office somewhere at Qatar to go and relax while we are now suffering in this country now. And we are not looking at these things. Can't the chairman of INEC, if you can cancel it and put rerun or re-elect of that election.
Thank you so much for your call. 08036929933. We need to go in about 6 minutes. I'll take your calls as they come. Hello.
Hello, Shoma.
How are you doing? Good afternoon.
I'm from this is I'm calling from Indeed.
Good to hear from you. Please go ahead.
I don't have anything to say. I just want to thank you for good work.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Let Nigeria go and take their PVC. That's
all right.
What I have to say this afternoon.
Thank you.
God bless you for good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. 08171756338 on WhatsApp. Obi is my man. Any day, anytime. Eddie Murphy from Agbara. Good afternoon. How are you doing? What's your name and location? Please, you're sounding really low. I can hardly hear you. Hello? Hello? All right, give me a call back. Send a message on WhatsApp to 0817-175-6338. 0817-175-6338. When the leadership structure of a nation is compromised, what example do you expect the citizens to follow? Great man from United Kingdom. Ikechukwu from Agor says, I have a shop at Yaba, everywhere is dirty. Is it that Loma are not working again in Lagos? Well, that's a valid concern. Good afternoon. Okay, I've seen your message. INEC online voters registration 2026 ongoing. That is true. 0817-175-6338. I tell you, the government knows what's happening in our country. By next year, it will be different. Mr. Mandred Babu. This person says, hello, VOP. Hello to you as well. I greet VOP station and the guests. My worry is Nigerians need to know what to do to unseat the current administration. Is more than noise making on social media or calling on radio station is only just to get voters card but refuse to come out on election day to vote. It's only if people can come out to cast their vote for the right candidate that power will change hands. Big Sam from Ijegun, thank you so much for your message. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you. What's your name and location, please? Hello.
Hello. My name is Enyofuchi from Ijebu.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
What I'm saying is Nigeria now, we know that we have problem of leader from the beginning. And from Nigeria independence to now, never have any leader that is ready to put Nigeria in order. 2027, God will rise against Nigeria because we have seen that the people waiting now is to share money and to make people that want to work to discourage them. In Nigeria, you have to stand up and take over Nigeria because all the old people.
Thank you for your call. 0803-692-9933. Our final caller, because we need to go. Good afternoon to you. Have a minute. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank
you.
you.
Eat the fruit of your labor.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Just continue. Just go ahead. What we are all saying is that if opposition doesn't make it, then what do we do? What do we do after all the crying and the years for all these issues? But the thing that I just want to say concerning the eminent your person that you brought is that they must come together. If they don't come together, I'm telling you the truth of the matter, there is nothing for them. Nothing for them. If they don't come together and do the needful. Yes.
Thank you for your call. All right. We have to go. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us on today's edition of the New Nigeria Debate. I do thank you for your calls, for your messages, for being a part of the conversation. We've been streaming live on YouTube, though, VOP 903 FM. Whenever we're on air, you can catch us live on YouTube, VOP 903 FM. I want to thank you for your participation. Remember that the New Nigeria Debate comes back to your airwaves, returns to your airwaves 1:30 p.m. on Thursday. Myself and Solomon Ofem will have our guest to debate on how to take Nigeria to the next level, a better level. And I must tell you, it starts with you. Go get your PVCs and ensure to vote in the 2027 general elections. Nigeria can get better in our lifetime, but it starts with you and I. My name is Chema Innocent, and I come your way again tomorrow with matters. Take care of yourself. It's rainy season. Ensure you take care of yourself. Wear your raincoat, wear your rain boots. Just take good care of yourself, okay? And I'll see you. Bye for now. Funhouse time with MC Chooks. And Dr. Walkie Talkie comes up shortly. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.